Well, that's funny, Elon, because you on double-digit baby mamas and Susie Wiles say you was sleeping in the office in a sleeping bag, presumably because you didn't want to go home.
City boy! City boy!
So you saying you not this event? All of this is just you. This is all authentically you? I certainly don't want to claim that.
It's such good English. It's beautiful. Where did you learn to speak so beautifully?
It's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon.
I know it's tough doing what's hard, but we could use more men like you.
Is your eye okay? What happened to you?
Turns out even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually.
Extra doing.
Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. I'm Reese Waters, and this is Racist of the Year. Now, typically, this is where we highlight the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination and hopes we can build a more perfect union. And also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And of course, if you have any nominees, you can drop them in the comments. You can email me at admin@ReeseWaters.com. Now, it was quite a year for racism now, wasn't it?
Use the N-word regularly. In what context? Do you use it with black people?
Yes, if it's appropriate.
When would it be appropriate to use the N-word? When would it be appropriate?
Anytime I feel like it.
So you're an unashamed racist?
Correct.
I can't tell.
That's a child. Exactly, because she's black. That's a child.
You know what?
That's a child. So don't you walk too free because you're going to get in trouble. She's a child.
I'm not getting in trouble. You don't do that. Maybe you do it over there in Zaire, but you don't do it here.
I am racist. And you are an
Jesus Christ is God, and there is no other God. He is part of the Holy Trinity, and any other God is a demon, and it's false. How can you represent the constituents of Ohio who are 64% Christian if you are not a part of that faith?
In a way, I'm done with all the Uncle Toms. I'm done with Jason Whitlock. I'm done with Candace Owens. I'm done with all the Uncle Tom token blacks. Like, you're not that smart. You're not even that conservative. Always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple. It's literally...
Shut your stupid ass up. Say that, folks.
There are 5 million Muslims in the United States. Why would you want to categorize them in such a grotesque manner?
Oh, and those 5 million Muslims should definitely go back to their 56 Muslim nations. And let's get something very clear right now in your little show, peers. I don't fear the groomers. I don't fear the pedophiles. I don't fear the corrupt politicians. And I definitely do not fear the dirty Muslims.
But here at Racist of the Year, we're here to separate the real from the Valentina Gomez. You know, people whose racism deserves special recognition. The kind of people that can hate just about everybody. Oh, Nick Fuentes. That'll work.
First of all, I don't love when Muslims try to obfuscate the differences. You believe that Christians are idolaters, and you think that Christ is not God, and that's just not good enough. Now, the only reason we say that Muslims treat Jesus as a Messiah is to highlight that Jews have a particular hatred for Christ. But that doesn't mean that Muslims are, close to Christians. And what distinguishes the Trinity from Allah is that, the Son is uncreated. The Son precedes the Christ in the sense that there has always been the Father and the Son, and the self-giving love, the pouring out of love, which is reciprocal between the Father and the Son, expressed by the Holy Spirit, is eternal. That is nothing like Allah. That is nothing like what is in the Quran. That is nothing like Islam.
Okay, Muslims. That's an interesting deep cut there. That feels very superfluous. But do you?
You're willing to list all the Muslim sounding names and they're called to prayer in Dearborn, why don't you say the same thing about all the Jews in Surfside, Florida? Or how about all the Jews in Brooklyn, New York? Or how about all the Hasidic Jews that have basically created colonies in New Jersey, all over New York, in LA, in South Florida? How about, forgive me, how about all the Jewish names in Hollywood, in the financial industry? How about the 5 out of 8 Ivy League universities that have Jewish presidents? How about the endless talk about the Holocaust and playing the shofar?
Jews. Now that's one of the hits. That's he playing the hits. And it takes a special kind of racist to go at Muslims and Jews.
Here's my program for America. One's in the chat if you agree. We're going to take all these Shapiros, the Weinsteins, the Epsteins, and we're going to take the Zorans, the Hassans, and the Ilhans. We're going to get them all together. We're going to put them on a ship, and we're going to send them back to the Middle East. Send them back to the desert. You can have them. Let's get all the towel heads on one side, tiny hats on the other. We're going to put them on a big luxury cruise ship or a giant Boeing 737 MAX, and we can send them all right back to the Middle East. All day long, they'll be going to Iraq, they'll be going to Israel, they'll be going to Turkey. They can all go back. Thank you. We had a great time together, but I think it's time for you to leave.
But nobody could rise to the level of finalists without some good old-fashioned anti-black racism.
Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Would you like to clarify what you meant there?
That's all true. That's 100% true. Everything I said in that clip is true.
Including that blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Yeah. Yes.
You just said blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. You didn't clarify that you were talking about black murderers.
Right. No, you're right. That's a good addition to that. That's a great point.
Do you think it's funny or?
I do. I think it's hilarious.
But what separates Nick Fuentes is the fact that not only was he racist against black folks, he specifically targeted the black folks on the right. Yes, had me quoting him going at Black Maga.
In a way, I'm done with all the Uncle Toms. I'm done with Jason Whitlock. I'm done with Candace Owens. I'm done with all the Uncle Tom token blacks. Like, you're not that smart. You're not even that conservative. You built your career on a grift that is now dead. You were hired when diversity quotas were a thing. You were hired when white guilt is a thing. I don't feel white guilt. I never have. DEI is over. So now you're done. You need to be fired. Like, you're done.
You know what? We're going to have to nominate him for Let Him Fight MVP as well. Yeah, we're going to have to. The amount of discord that he has sown is something to behold. Now, Nick Fuentes, is there anything that you want to leave us with? Any lasting words to help your candidacy for Racist of the Year?
Every woman could afford to talk a little bit less. That's my helpful advice as a man. Just try to focus on being pleasant for a change instead of telling me your opinions. Like, so here, for example, when you say, you need to do this, you need to do that. Hey, women, if you are starting a sentence with you need to, let's just change that and just not talk instead. You know what my favorite words are when a woman talks? I made cookies. I love you. I love you. I love you. You need to do this. You need to do that. I'm just like, shut up.
Wow, you attacking women. Attacking women. All right. That is a kind of extracurricular that we look at. You know what I mean? That's the kind of thing that really separates the applications for Racist of the Year. It's kind of weird though, because I would think he would have pursued this, for women. The reason why we do most things.
All women are annoying. All women grow old. They all get fat. Says the guy, have you ever had sex?
No, absolutely not.
Wow. Says the guy who's never got laid.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Now I got it. I don't know if that will help or hurt, to be honest. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, we've definitely gone at black people. We've gone at Jews. We've gone at Muslims. We've gone at women. Something. Have we heard him talk about Latinos at all? Well, that's probably because he's Mexican. That's probably what happened there. Wait a minute. Is he the original Latino for Trump?
For Donald Trump. Even though he keep deporting y'all. I will vote for Donald Trump. He been snatching all y'all kids from y'all. I will vote for Donald Trump. He got white people kidnapping y'all.
We might have to include him in that FAFO of the Year nomination. Yeah, we gonna have to look into that. But moving on, we have a couple of other folks whose racism deserves special recognition. Oh, Laura Loomer, she's an old standby. She is the reigning and defending racist of the year. And she did it in 2024 on the wings of anti-blackness going at Kamala. And you know what? She kept that same energy.
Oh, you got me f***ed up. Tell me your shit. Hey.
But for the most part, her racism really veered off of the black-white path onto the news of the day.
A top Trump advisor just called for the genocide of all Latinos and Hispanics living in the US. This is Laura Loomer, a Trump ally and top advisor, and this is what she said a couple hours ago. Alligator lives matter. The good news is alligators are guaranteed 65 million meals if we get started now. She is of course referring to Alligator Alcatraz, a new concentration camp that was just built in Florida. But here's the thing, she's not saying 65 million undocumented people, she's saying 65 million people period. And lo and behold, just by coincidence, there's 65 million Latinos and Hispanics in the US.
Her cruelty was perfectly exemplary of modern day MAGA.
If this doesn't disgust you and upset you, then you might be part of the problem. This is what conservative influencer and twice failed political candidate for the GOP, Laura Loomer, had to say about what's known as Alligator Alcatraz. It's not just the gloves that have come off, it's the veil that has come off altogether. And now people like Laura Loomer are telling us the quiet part out loud. Because this number right here, 65 million, refers, we all know it, to one thing and one thing only. It's the entire Hispanic population right here in the United States. 65 million. And Laura Loomer's message is very clear and very scary. What she's saying is that she wants to see all 65 million of them. It doesn't matter their immigration status. It doesn't matter whether they've committed crimes or not. Just because they're Hispanic, she wants to see all of them institutionalized in Alligator Alcatraz. But it's actually worse than that, because what she's saying is not just that she wants to see them in Alligator Alcatraz, she wants to see them as alligator food.
But if there was one specific target that she trained her eye on in 2025, it was Muslims.
I have some friends of mine who were going to go to the Army parade this weekend. And they told me that they canceled because they're actually worried about the threat of Iranian proxies in the aftermath of these airstrikes, because we have Hezbollah and Hamas operatives in all 50 states now.
That's so
people forget that the FBI has identified ISIS in all 50 states. People forget that we have terror cells, that we have identified terror training camps in America, that we have Hamas and Hezbollah proxies living here, and they have advocates. They have advocates across the country who are in office and also running for office. We are now witnessing, just days before the mayoral primary elections in New York City,
the rise of that
the rise of a jihadi Muslim candidate named Zohran Mamdani, who is beating these establishment Democrats, and they're all bad, right? But I'd rather have an establishment Democrat than a total communist and jihadist who is calling for full-blown communism. I mean, he really is campaigning, and he calls himself a Democrat socialist. He's not even trying to hide it. He is running as a Democrat socialist, and he's leading in the polls right now. So there is a rise of radical communist activity here in America.
In fact, it is a video from Laura Loomer that is credited for stopping medical visas from Gaza.
We have some serious news right now. The United States State Department has officially stopped issuing visas for children coming from Gaza who desperately need medical care after a far-right misinformation campaign led by Laura Loomer. So the United States State Department has officially issued announcements saying all visitor visas for individuals from Gaza are being stopped while we conduct a full and thorough review of the process and procedures used to issue a small number of temporary medical humanitarian visas in recent days. And this comes after Laura Loomer, who is a far-right conspiracy theorist, spread misinformation on the internet, calling the children who come to America on these visas who desperately need medical intervention and medical care, quote, jihadi chants, and that they were doing, quote, terror whistles. She was actively misrepresenting what was happening to the children, despite the fact that these children desperately need these temporary humanitarian visas.
Now just think about how racist you have to be to have blood on your hands over it. And how hateful you have to be to not care, because you know she don't. I got a question. What does she care about? What does she, because she attack everybody, and I've seen the way she be walking around in public. So I don't think, I don't know that care is a concept that she understands. Moving on to our next nominee, Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. Now, Pete Hegseth's year started with some good old-fashioned historical whitewashing.
Who owns history? It's been a central question since President Trump re-entered the White House. His administration's efforts to strip diversity, equity, and inclusion programs prompted the Defense Department to remove thousands of web pages and images honoring the contributions of women and people of color, like the Navajo code talkers who served during the World Wars. The Pentagon is now restoring at least some of those web pages after much pushback, including one honoring Black Medal of Honor recipient Army Major General Charles Calvin Rogers. The website URL had labeled that a DEI Medal of Honor, which the DoD now says was a mistake.
But what would whitewashing the past be if you can't whitewash the future?
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
The Pentagon's new beard ban hurts readiness in black men the hardest. Hey, I'm Cody Harnish, UCMJ attorney. I'm a former JAG, and now I only practice military law. The Pentagon just rolled out its new facial hair policy, saying shaving waivers are generally not authorized, and if you need one long-term, you're going to be kicked out after 1 year of medical treatment if you still need one. And this is why there's a huge problem with this. There is this medical condition with this name that I cannot pronounce. And it's a reaction when coarse, curly facial hair grows back into the skin after shaving, and it causes extreme razor bumps, bleeding, serious scarring, and skin infection. And I didn't believe it at first when I was in, but then you see your battle buddy shaving every day with painful scarring. The military's own medical study shows that somewhere between 45 to 83% of black men suffer from it. This means almost half or more of black male service members are medically at risk just for shaving their face every day. For years, doctors have issued no-shave profiles so these troops could still keep a short, neat beard and still meet uniform standards. But now, under this new rule, anyone who still needs a shaving waiver after 1 year is subject to separation, being kicked out, regardless of their service records, regardless of their experience, or their lethality. Ironically, this policy doesn't make the force stronger, it weakens it. Every time a skilled NCO or an officer is non-deployable or pushed out, the unit loses experience, leadership, and trust. Readiness isn't about looking the same, it's about whether you can fight, lead, and win.
And the way that you whitewash the future is by indoctrinating the youth, making sure that the heroes and the warriors, they love warriors, making sure that the warriors that the kids look up to look and feel a certain way. And of course, naturally, the victims of their atrocities look completely different.
So did you hear about Pete Hegseth's praise for the soldiers who carried out the infamous massacre of about 300 Native Americans at Wounded Knee in 1890?
We salute their memory. We honor their service.
Yeah, so a little context here. Soon after that massacre, 20 members of the 7th Cavalry were awarded Medals of Honor for their conduct that day. Conduct that included opening fire with machine guns on a Native American encampment filled with non-combatants, executing people who were wounded or trying to surrender, chasing down and killing women and children who had fled more than a mile from the attack site. One officer said of his men opening fire, "It seemed to me only a few seconds till there was not a living thing before us. Warriors, squaws, children, ponies, and dogs, for they were all mixed together." Another soldier remembered, quote, "the screams of mothers as machine gun bullets tore their bodies apart." He called it a cold-blooded massacre. So the Army calling this atrocity the Battle of Wounded Knee and handing out all those medals was a way to cover up what actually happened. But a century later, in the early 1990s, Native Americans and their allies began to push the Army to revoke the Medals of Honor. The final decision had yet to be rendered when Pour Me Another Pete made this announcement.
Under my direction, we're making it clear without hesitation that the soldiers who fought in the Battle of Wounded Knee in 1890 will keep their medals. And we're making it clear that they deserve those medals.
Yeah, for all that honor.
This decision is now final, and their place in our nation's history is no longer up for debate.
True, but not in the way you think.
We salute their memory, we honor their service, and we will never forget what they did.
Also true, but not in a good way.
Now, it's at this point I have to highlight why Pete Hegseth will also be nominated in the DEI of the Year category. See, I had a whole video about how Fort Lee, named for Robert E. Lee, formerly, was changed to be named after a Buffalo soldier because in their obstinance, they decided they wanted to return the bases back to their former names, but just find people who fit for them to name them after so they could still, use Lee. And if that kind of Dollar General logic isn't exemplary of this administration, I don't know what is.
The Reconciliation Monument. It has been returned to Arlington National Cemetery following its removal in 2023. This is a Confederate monument. It was taken away, as I mentioned, several years ago. Why was it important for you to bring that back to Arlington National Cemetery?
Because we recognize our history, we don't erase it, Will. We don't follow the woke lemmings off the cliff that want to tear down statues. We look at and learn from our history, all aspects of it. And so Arlington deserves to have, and we're grateful to the state of Virginia for partnering with us. It wasn't easy. We fought to make it happen. And the Reconciliation Monument will return to Arlington where it belongs to recognize the service of Americans of all chapters. So we're not tearing stuff down. We're done with that. We're putting statues back. We're putting paintings back. We're recognizing our history. We're restoring the names of bases as we've done across the country because we're proud of our history, as difficult as it may have been in some chapters. We're going to teach it, we're going to live it, and we're going to fight for it.
Oh, you know what? There is the returning of problematic monuments because see, taking them down or resisting taking them down is one thing, but putting them back to honor those individuals in 2025 is a whole separate thing. Maybe that actually might be the most exemplary of this administration.
This some more bullshit.
I would say resisting taking them down would be like a 6, like a good solid 6. Like you don't care how other people feel, but you could maybe just push for inertia or general kind of malaise on any sort of substantive changes to our national conscience. But putting them back after they've been taken down, that's a 12. That is a solid 12. Like the apostles. Which brings us to our next nominee. That's right, Joel Webbon, because what would good old-fashioned racism be without a nice Christian brand to it?
My voice is more important. Yep. So I'm fine with everybody having a vote, but I should get 20. I should get 20, and then there's other people, and I'm not just talking about myself, there's other people who should get 100 and other people who should get 500 votes. Or what you could do is you could just say, no, we're actually just going to take votes from one sector of the population. And it's going to be heads of household who are married and committed to having children furthering the next generation, and they're heritage Americans. So not just American citizens, but they've actually been here for generations back. So they have a stake in the past. They have children. They're married with children. So they have a stake in the future. So they stake in the past, stake in the future. They're working. They're land owning. They're head of household. Yes, I'm speaking of men. And those individuals will have a vote. And it doesn't mean that nobody else has a voice, but everybody else will have a voice underneath their federal headship.
So let me get this straight. If heritage Americans' votes are supposed to count more, is that not supposed to make me suspicious about these last elections we've had? Am I supposed to not be suspicious when you just want to openly out of your mouth talk about how heritage Americans' votes should count more? And I would also say, as much as you guys love to talk about the meritocracy that you seek for the country, but not with the democracy though, right?
Jews cannot hold public office. They can live here and they can live here peacefully and all these kinds of things. But no, this is a Christian nation, and those who reject Christ and hate Christ, they can be in the car, and we shouldn't mistreat them, but they don't get to drive. Listen to me. Christian, you are allowed to have a country. You are. It is okay to say, no, this country, this nation is for us and our posterity. It's not for Hindus. It's not for Muslims. And it's not for Jews. It belongs to Christians.
That man needs help. I can say that man needs help. Is there a doctor in the house?
Moved to Texas. I needed to get a new cardiologist. And so my wife, she does a lot of this for me because before we had kids, she was an RN, and she knows a lot more than I do. I let her read those books. She read some medical books. Yeah. And so she's doing the research and looking at these things, and she shows me two doctors, both with this, within the same practice, same company, hospital, and saying, do you like one over the other? And one was a young white dude and one was a young black dude. And I said, I prefer the young white dude. And this is why. The reason why is not because I'm white, but because we currently live in a historical moment in the West, and particularly in these United States, where I know that both of these guys could be perfectly qualified. But I also know that if there's a chance that one of them was not qualified and was given a free pass, it'd be the black guy. I know that young white guy, there's no way he got a free pass.
Parents really need to protect their kids from Joel Webbon. You know what I mean? This ain't...
If you're a Christian white parent who loves the Lord and loves your children, that you need to have the talk. The talk that we're referencing is the talk that takes your children according to their maturity at the proper time, the appropriate time, and says, there are certain parts of town that you cannot go. And there are certain people that you cannot be around. Yep. Right? If there's someone who is black in our church, and they've been in our church, and we know them, and they love the Lord Jesus Christ, great. We're not talking about that person, right. But we're talking about when you go into a crowd of people. If you go into a crowd of strangers, and they're white strangers, there's some danger. If they're black strangers, there is 30 times more danger. Them's the facts. And it is actually a failure of your parental duty. White parents, please hear me. If you teach your children growing up, if you lie to them and say, all people and all races of people in our country are the same.
Now, I could go in on pushing back on the nonsense that just came out of his mouth, but that's not what we're here for right now. We are here to acknowledge and reflect upon how far the racism has come in 2025 and why, in fact, he deserves to be here.
Hey, cut it out. You need to grow up. Stop throwing a fit. You're throwing a tantrum. Stop being a little boy. You're whining and crying about something that's ultimately your fault. Yeah. Stop blaming it on other people. It's your fault. Because here's the deal. It's like, well, slavery. The richest black people on God's green earth are African Americans. If slavery never happened, then you would be in a grass hut. Yeah. Right? Well, we need reparations. Your reparations are that you get to live in America. You're welcome.
And to that, I will respond in the way I typically do when people go down this road on white oppression and how good it is to be Black in today's America. Joel Webbon, you want to trade? Huh? You want to? Hey, Joel, I will give you the gift of white people. Huh? You get the gift of white people. All you have to give up is, control of all three branches of government, our media, our banking system, the churches, all the Fortune 500 companies. It's a couple of, I can write it down on it. I can write just a couple of things. That's all. You just get that. You get the gift of white people. You what?
Women are atrocious today. They are immodest. They're hoes. They're dumb, like literally intellectually unintelligent. They are shallow. They are deceitful. They are wicked. They are vile. They vote for trannies. Women are radical progressives. Women need to be quiet. You need to be quiet. And men who love the women in their lives, but should love them enough to say, you don't get to drive the car anymore because you keep driving it off of a cliff. How did he get elected? White women. White women, if they don't kill their babies in the womb through abortion, they at least want to be able to give up their babies at the age of 1 year old to go to state-funded, city-funded childcare. Right. 3 years ago, somebody asked me, if you could wave, the magic wand and make, America a Christian nation tomorrow, would women in that Christian nation have the right to vote? And I said, I didn't mince words. I just immediately said no.
Hey, Megyn Kelly. Yeah, your silence looking bad again. It's looking bad again. Yeah, we can all see you and the fact that you say nothing about all of this.
The 19th Amendment should be repealed. I think that because, well, first and foremost, because I'm a Christian, and that is the Christian position. Oh my gosh, you're saying that? Yes, that is the Christian position.
It's so funny how they just pick up the misogyny just right away from the racism. You know what I mean? It's like going from surfing to skateboarding. It's like the same muscle groups and the muscle memory kicks in. They just bam, right? Like right on over to the misogyny. That's wild.
You will now watch an orientation video featuring the Director of Homeland Security.
Welcome to the team, recruits. I'm Christian White, Head of Homeland Security.
Oh, must be time for our next nominee, ICE. Now, receiving the nomination for ICE will be Kristi Noem. Now, we all last year were talking about mass deportation and the fact that we were going to clamp down on illegal immigration. But here in 2025, we're picking up people at immigration hearings. The people that have gone about things the right way, the way that you told them to, infiltrating churches and openly racial profiling. I don't think this is about criminals. I don't. No, because they were too sloppy. They maybe could have done it, but you put Kristi Noem in charge. Now this is what you got.
From here? Where's here? What country? Was you born here? Was you born here, ma'am? What country was you born in?
Now it's really crazy to think this is what the world has come to, actually. That's crazy. This video right here is insane. These ICE agents aren't even doing their job. You're just harassing her at this point, racially profiling her, assuming she's Hispanic when she told you she's from here. So just cause she got the brown skin, the black hair, she might look like an Hispanic to you, that means you can harass her? Like, man, for real, back up. They just trying to start something. She's over here chilling, trying to go to Walmart, trying to get something for herself. And you over here asking her what country she's from. Get on somewhere with that, man. Come on. There is no way, shape, or form this can be justified. And if you think this can be justified, you're crazy. She's just going to Walmart. Come on.
Meanwhile, you've arrested cops. You've slammed pregnant women on the ground. While your own officers have been picked up from everything from DUI to Operation Creep. And don't think that video isn't coming. But I guess you can just put on a new jacket and a pound of makeup and throw Kristi Noem in cosplay will make it all right.
I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Thank you, President Donald J. Trump, for securing our border and putting America first. Now let me deliver a clear message from President Trump to the world. If you are a criminal alien considering entering America illegally, don't even think about it. If you come here and you break our laws, we will hunt you down. Criminals are not welcome in the United States. President Trump is keeping his promise to make America safe again.
And I would question how any of this would be tenable, how we got to this point. But we know exactly how we got to this point because of the white nationalist rhetoric in your recruiting. ICE looks exactly the way you want ICE to look. That's not to say that some of that white supremacy hasn't infused itself into other groups.
You're gonna use that gun on your people. Shame on you. I hope right now your ancestors are looking at you. Look at you right now, brother. Stand up. Stand up. How did your family get here? My tax money put you in school. You came here without no papers. Now you're an American? Thank you. Out of the way to pay us back. We love you, brother. Don't forget that. Everybody take a picture of you.
And yes, black people, that goes for you too.
Actually, call ICE over.
Call ICE?
Yeah,
Okay,
call
ICE. I have papers. Call ICE.
Okay, call ICE.
Call ICE. Un pastor de la iglesia.
Which brings me to my next nominee. The man literally did a salute. And that's not to mention his performance after Charlie Kirk's death in the UK, where he was advocating for people to fight back, gassing up a very dangerous cauldron of violence that we were balancing at that particular point in time. And he also was amplifying all of the far-right rhetoric on X all year long. You know, the kind of social media platform where you go to try and understand what the news is, and you click the tab and it's a bunch of right-wing trolls being racist. Yeah, that's what Elon Musk has amplified all year.
Elon Musk recently stated, as an African American, I am proof that we are not disadvantaged from finding success in the modern era. I am both African American and the richest man in the world. Do you agree with Musk? Leave us a comment and let us know.
Well, that's funny, Elon, because you on double-digit baby mamas and Susie Wild say you was sleeping in the office in a sleeping bag, presumably because you didn't want to go home.
City boy! City boy!
So you saying you not disadvantaged? All of this is just you. This is all authentically you? I certainly don't want to claim that.
Yeah, I grew up around a lot of Jewish people. I went to Hebrew preschool, Rachel Spiro in South Africa. My name is very Jewish.
I will tell you that for the past 10 years, people have assumed in my community that you were Jewish until I informed them otherwise.
Yeah.
Elon is a pretty Jewish name.
He's super Jewish.
Yeah.
And then I went to Israel when I was 13. Visited Masada. I'm certainly checking the boxes on a lot of things. Like I said, most of my friends are Jewish, just worked out that way. So sometimes I guess maybe I forget. Maybe, am I Jewish? I'm Jewish. Aspirationally Jewish.
Hey, Jewish delegation. Yeah. He bought his way in. He bought his way in. I don't know. He couldn't get in ours. So, have fun.
The Democrats attract and retain illegal immigrants by essentially paying them to come here and then turning them into voters.
Yes.
So this is why the Democrats are so upset about the situation, because they're losing. If we turn off this gigantic money magnet for illegal immigrants, then they will leave and they'll lose voters.
Just so we're clear, Elon is citing the Great Replacement Theory, the false, dangerous conspiracy theory about how white people in this country are being replaced with non-white people. It's inspired many instances of white nationalist violence. And in the Great Replacement Theory, the people orchestrating the replacement are usually Jews, the money magnet. These lies and rhetoric led to the murders of Jews, immigrants, and people of color in Pittsburgh, El Paso, Buffalo, and more. Great Replacement Theory targets all of our safety at once. So if the Nazi salute wasn't obvious enough, remember that this is the rhetoric that Elon and the MAGA movement promote all the time to spread fear and division.
We got the Great Replacement hit. We also got the mass immigration hit.
The mass immigration is insane and will lead to the destruction of any country that allows unfettered mass immigration. That country will simply cease to exist. At the end of the day, it is a numbers game, a numbers situation. If there are 8 billion people in the world, and let's say you're a country of 50 million, 60 million, or for a medium-sized country, but even for a country like the United States, which is 350 million, given that there are 8 billion people in the world, it only takes a few % of the rest of the world to move to the country to where it is no longer that country. A country is not its geography. A country is its people. This is a fundamental concept.
And we also got the misinformation hit.
The actual evidence in history shows the exact opposite. If you look at how minorities are treated by the medical system, most doctors now are white. And there are lots of mistakes in medicine. So you're saying that white doctors have bad medical care? I'm trying to understand your logic here when it comes to DEI, because there's no actual evidence of what you're saying.
No, I said, so if the standards, like let's say, I think that particular thing was referring to surgeons. Let's say a surgeon is asked to, a surgeon in training is asked to do a series of operations under the supervision of a senior surgeon, and they get a bunch of those operations wrong. If that happens, and yet they are still approved to be a surgeon, the probability that someone will die, I think, at some point is high.
Okay, I understand that, but that's a hypothetical. That doesn't mean it's happening.
I didn't say it's happening.
You didn't say it was happening.
I said it will. But I said if we lower standards, people will die.
But why respond to something or put something out there that has not happened?
And all of this came from a man whose company was brought up on racism and discrimination charges. There's evidence all over the internet. there's evidence. Hey, clip my video. Hey, clip my video, because it comes top down. It's a top down thing. But for all of the old racist tropes and hits that Elon Musk played in 2025, nothing hit hard as his pappy did.
The big concern at the moment, and why I think South Africa is a big talking point in the US right now, is America in the next 20 years will become, for the first time in its history, a minority white country.
Well, that will be a very, very bad thing to happen. You want to see the US go down? Why? Oh, you don't like cars and electric cars, and you don't like technology, or what is it? You want to go back to the jungle, or?
If the US becomes a minority white country.
Yes.
So there's Latinas, there's blacks, there's people from all different races make up the majority, and then it could be 48% white people. Do you really think the US is doomed if it goes under?
Yeah, it goes under then.
Seriously?
Yes, of course. You see, if you take South Africa, we have a small white population that projects European culture, or what we learned from Europe.
And oppressed millions of black people.
No.
For decades.
How do you oppress? We gave them work, we fed them. They grew from a tiny little group into a massive group. That's not oppression, that's feeding them. Do you understand? You only grow big if you get fed. You only start at 800 and become 50 million if you get fed. We fed them, for crying out loud. Enough with this nonsense.
But so you understand, because the black population was so oppressed under apartheid.
Well, we never saw this oppression you're talking about.
You never saw it?
No, I never saw it.
Yeah, because you're white.
Good luck with that. We gonna have to retroactively give him the Who Raised Y'all award. Oh man, I don't want to get into the Elon Musk family tree. It's probably a forest by now, though. I think, yeah. It's Rock Creek Park that's the Elon Musk family tree. Central Park even. Now this is difficult, right? You got your Nick Fuenteses, and you have your ICEs, and you have your Laura Loomers, and you have your Elon Musks and Joel Webbon. If there was like a stew and a cauldron, you could mix all of that up in. Your thoughts?
What? What? Who?
The kind of person that can empower Elon Musk and Kristi Noem, protect Pete Hegseth, and so he can continue his war on DEI, clean up and feed Laura Loomer. Is there anybody that can do all of that, but at the same time put in his own bits of racism on top of all of the actionable things that he has pushed through? Now that would be a force. Yeah. For racism.
Jasmine Crockett. Remember what I said? Is she a relation to the late, great Davy Crockett? I don't think so. Jasmine Crockett, let me tell you, before you even ask, she's a very low IQ person. I mean, if we ever had to pass an aptitude test, that's the one should take one, because she shouldn't even be in the crowd. So I have no idea what you're going to, but I don't think we should waste our time. This is a low IQ person who I can't even believe is a congressperson. Between her and Ilhan Omar and the group. I met the head of Somalia. Did you know that? And I suggested that maybe he'd like to take her back, and he didn't want it. He said, I don't want it. When you say that, darling, that's fake news.
Well, why would the Department of Defense?
Listen, be quiet. Listen. You don't listen. You never listen. That's why you're second rate. We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
Why attack individuals when you can attack a whole group of people?
10 years, in 20 years, in 2 years, they're going to be criminals. They were born to be criminals, frankly. They were born to be criminals.
That statement is beyond reproachable. The president is talking about cities with majority-minority populations as places where people who are born to be criminals live. I don't think I need to explain the racial implications of a statement like that. By saying that people are born to be criminal, Trump is also saying that crime is a trait that defines people at birth. This clearly echoes the rhetoric that was heard in the 1930s in Germany, and it's a dangerous rhetoric because it eventually allows the government to justify things like preventive incarceration and the confinement of specific groups. Trump is also telling children, you might be born a criminal, so forget about the American dream, forget about the fact that anything is possible in this country and that you control your own destiny. The government might brand you as a criminal, so you might as well stop trying.
Hey, Trump, you attack the individual. You attack the individual again.
So Somalia is considered by many to be the worst country on earth. I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon, I hope. But what Somalia, what the Somalian people have done to Minnesota is not even believable. That beautiful land, that beautiful state. It's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country.
That is a whole group of people. That is definitely a whole. Hey, Trump, you could probably swing bigger. You know, why just Somalians?
Say, why is it we only take people from shithole countries, right? Why can't we have some people from Norway, Sweden, just a few? Let us have a few. From Denmark, do you mind sending us a few people? Send us some nice people, do you mind? But we always take people from Somalia, places that are a disaster, right? Filthy, dirty, disgusting, ridden with crime.
And what really put Donald Trump over the top for me when it comes to consideration for Racist of the Year, it is the white South Africans just in our face during mass deportation literally will import white people. That is, Nick Fuentes, you said a lot, but what did you do though? Like he brought white people while, you know, trying to push for suspending due process so he could evict brown people. They talking about third country deportation. How you beat that, Nick Fuentes? Well, you know what? Let's see what the members said. Oh, and there you have it. Donald Trump runs away with the Racist of the Year. I do want to congratulate him on winning this. It literally might be the last thing that he wins. That's a much higher percent. That's almost double his approval rating right now. So Trump, I would put this in a very special place. It might, I don't know if anything will be joining it ever again. Unless they give you like a participation trophy from Walter Reed or something like that. As far as the rest of y'all, y'all should be used to losing. Y'all wouldn't be sitting up here this mad and racist if you ain't been losing for decades. That's how y'all got here.